Have you been out? Have you been catching up with the Wombles? How they're getting on?
Yeah, I've been out wombling a few times myself, using the kit that Aylesbury Town Council presented to them. So they've now got well over 50 sets of litter pickers and high-vis jackets to identify them as a womble, and we're now getting groups of up to 40 going out different parts of town every weekend, and there's a big focus on it this month because September is a national event, community cleanups.
Oh, okay.
Which hopefully will get even more people interested in cleaning up their community. It's being advertised through the town council, and we're happy to lend our equipment out to other groups, not just the Wombles. But I was out the last Wednesday. I couldn't make the session with the main Wombles, so I grabbed a bag and a picker, and I went up my road, and I went round the corner, I went round a few other streets, just by myself, filling up 4 bags over the course of an evening.
Wow.
And during that time I was out about 2 hours, with 5 different people that came out of their houses or came across the street when they saw me and said, thank you for what you're doing. So we are being appreciated.
Oh, that's good.
And it's different to the town. It really does start to, I hope, restore a sense of pride. And there will always be people that drop litter, but hopefully at least a few of them will start to look around and say, this place looks tidier. It looks like the kind of place that people care about, and I'll buy into that. And I won't drop litter. So maybe it's a naive hope, but we feel that it's worth having a go at.
I'll tell you what would be interesting. Here, collect all the litter up, and then obviously turn it upside down, empty it all out, and see what organisations are actually creating the litter. And then maybe I'll do that with the Wombles when I go and see them. Get them to. They'll probably hate me for doing it, but it'll be interesting.
I think that there'll be some recurring themes.
Yes.
You know, a certain chain of burger restaurants, their litter is everywhere. When I was out the other night, when I picked up my 4th dropped face mask, because that's a real blight at the moment, I started counting, and by the end of the 2 hours, I picked up 23 of them.
I'm going to admit, I went
gloves, 6 car air fresheners. 7. I almost started composing a kind of 12 Days of Christmas type song, 12 Days of Wombling, all the different things that you pick up.
You should do that. I think that'd be quite fun. I'll edit it. We'll get it out there. We'll put it on YouTube. That'd be great fun.
It could be a bit of a fundraiser as well.
Interesting. That should be diverted. My apologies, Matt. You say there's a recurring thing, a certain burger branch. Is there anything else that's a constant in the litter picking?
Fag butts.
Oh, okay. Right.
Fag butts are small, but and therefore difficult to pick up. But once you start picking them up, you realise how many there are. And I did read, this was a while back, I can't remember, that nationally the estimated tonnage of litter created by cigarette butts, and it does run into tons.
Okay.
You cannot believe that a little lightweight thing like that, there are so many of them that they actually add up to tons of litter. And they don't biodegrade. They look horrible, smell horrible.
I thought the butts did.
The tips or they don't quickly.
Okay.
That's one of my pet hates, particularly when you find a place where, often by a bus stop, 20 or 30 fag butts, it can take you quite a while to pick those up individually and get them in your bag.
Okay, I am a smoker, I have to admit that, and I will make sure that doesn't happen with me. So that is, it's quite, you put it like that, it's a very interesting thing that when you mount them up, and did you say by a bin, by any chance, just then?
There was quite a concentration of them by a bus stop not far from where I'm not sure if there is a bin there, but certainly you can get litter dropped within a yard or two of a bin. And sometimes the bins are full and people put the litter beside the bin because the magic bin fairies are going to just deal with it. But other times, even if the bin is not full, even if there's plenty of room, they still chuck their litter on the ground.
Yeah, it is a worry when you see overfilled bins, but people say, well, they should be emptied. I mean, but that also comes at a cost. It's like how often do you want them emptied? Is there I don't know if there is a tax for local authorities on fast food restaurants and stuff like that, who probably add to the problems that you're discussing.
There needs to be something. One of the ideas that I read recently, I don't know if it's being put into practice, is the drive-through. I almost said the Mac word in, but we know who we're talking about. That they were going to print the registration number of the car on the bottom of the bag for their drive-through, so that if they then dump it somewhere else, it can be traced back to who's done it.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I would support.
Now, I'll tell you something that's interesting. So Ed Gemmell, still as candidate in High Wycombe, known Ed for a good couple of years now, and he was going into a certain establishment, and he was actually using his own. You know, he was, I don't want any of that cardboard or paper or anything. The amount of waste that causes, and they did actually put it in his reusable containers, and they had no problem with that. So I don't know, because of COVID, whether or not they can do that now, but that is something to think about. You know, is reusing, you know, a container for a certain, or any of the
ideas like that are great. It was probably about this time last year that I helped to launch the refill Aylesbury.
Oh, the water.
So rather than go and buy a bottle of water and chuck the bottle away afterwards, or even if you put it in your recycling, there's the cost and energy used to recycle it. Carry your own water bottle with you. I think it's probably the majority of shops and establishments in town offered to refill with tap water anyone that went in. Probably not something they're able to do now with coronavirus and risk of passing on infections, but hopefully that will continue once we're through this situation. And that's a really simple yet very effective idea.
Yeah, I think that
would be extended to other products.
Yeah,
I take my own glass when I go to the pub and say, fill that up.
Yeah, but your glass is about 4 pints worth. Yeah, that's a jug. No, it's a pint, sir.
It's not a bucket. It's only a glass.
A 10 of them lined up. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting one, isn't it? I mean, I like to say taking a pint. I mean, I take you know, a flask with me. I say flask, but you know, one of those coffee flask things. For even if I'm going into Costa or something like that, I'll take that in there and say, you know, especially if I'm out in my camper van, which people will probably see me driving around in now. Thank you to my daughter for also painting the sides. It's to me, it was interesting because I think it was like 60p cheaper or something for a Costa. You know, when I went in there and I was like, can I use my reuse? They're like, yeah. And actually, it had on the sign there. And I mean, the work that Ed Gemmell did in getting, you know, non-disposable cup day out there, you know, and I obviously helped as well. But it was quite impressive to go into, you know, a major service station on one of the motorways, and then you actually see that they're actually showing on there, you know, reusable cup 60p cheaper. It's like, it was something like, it might even be 30p, I can't remember, but it's still that little bit cheaper, isn't it? Just to get your coffee, and all it is you know, you're just taking a cup with it. It's not hard work. So, I mean, the biggest thing is football as well. My son plays football, so when you go out to there, I mean, they're not doing it due to COVID at the moment, but I'd always say, can you know, I take my first cup home, you know, from home. I'll be drinking that in my flask, and then it'll be like half time. I'll get another coffee, and I'll like just fill it up, and then they're happy to do that. But just those little things in life do mean a lot. They can. If everybody starts doing it, it can be, very good for the environment.
Absolutely. And if people start getting into the habit themselves and seeing other people do it, I think if you're the only one doing it, well, if you're very committed, you might still do it, but then you might get some funny looks. And he's a bit of an oddball for doing that.
I get that all the time.
If and when it becomes the norm, then it just has a knock-on effect. And small things like that make enough of a difference. Most of us can't make a big difference, but if we can make a small difference, we'll happily do it. And lots of small differences add up to a lot.
They do. I mean, that's why I like doing what I do. I get out there. I live broadcast quite a lot of stuff, and I get a little comment on there that says, this is brilliant. Thank you very much. Made my day, or I wouldn't have been able to do this. And I think, that's cool. It's nice. Bit of a trailblazer. I like to get things sorted.